I got more fictional character crushes I'm willing to share with you if you got the time to spend on learning why I'm like this. Yes, readers, I'm back with another installment of logical and thought-provoking reasons why I'm thirsty for fictional characters. You know, because I can't bring myself to just say, I like so-and-so because I think they're cute/hot and so on and so forth. No, I have to explain myself so that I don't get the infamous side eye of judgment. And yes, I kinda care about getting the side eye of judgment. I have black women in my family. I'm tired of getting that shit. For this installment, however, I wanted to focus on the crushes I developed on Disney characters, which, despite their large roster, is actually one character shorter than my video that I made on my video game character crushes. Nevertheless, I thought it was worth separating them from just cartoon character crushes in general, since there's so much Disney to go around. So here are my top 4 character crushes over the course of everything Disney that I was exposed to growing up. Starting with Disney Pixar's Sully. My crush on Sully is less aesthetic and more personality. Not to say that his size and stature doesn't play a role. I've made it known time and time again that I am a sucker for a sweet heart of gold living in a vessel others might find big, brutish, and/or intimidating. And that's just what Sully is in the original Monsters Incorporated. A chill guy you naturally want to be around. That's also just the sweetest. And protective as all hell when he makes the decision to open his heart to you. But you wouldn't know that upon first glance because of how he's built and how others perceive him. At least when it comes to humans. You have to be someone like Boo that can see through the grizzly in order to get a chance to hug the teddy bear. And while the extra layer of development they added to him in Monsters University wasn't really that necessary in my opinion, it was still a nice touch as far as showing us that Sully always had a gooey center hiding in his thick candy shell. Honestly, the only reason why he's not higher up on the list is because he already represents a lot of things that I look for in a partner anyway, whether they're male or female. My crush on Sully is important, don't get me wrong, but it never really told me anything new about myself or helped establish new bits and qualities that I was looking for in people when he was initially introduced to me. He represents things I knew from Jump Street were already there. But I'd be lying if I said that I didn't want to hug him and hold his hand. Paw. So with that crush out the way, let's move on to one that probably won't spark that much controversy because in my defense, I developed this crush when I was in elementary/middle school, but it'll still have people looking at me weird until I explain myself. I'm of course talking about PJ from Goof Troop. See, you're doing the side-eye thing right now. PJ was an awakening crush for me. Not necessarily because of his personality, but because the Goof Troop franchise was actually one of 2 Disney properties I watched as a kid that made me aware that not only do I also like guys, but I like big guys. Whenever I watched Goof Troop as a kid, I could never really pinpoint why I hoped I saw PJ in whatever episode I was watching, but I was always glad when he showed up. Now that I'm older and I know what I'm into, I realize that a lot of the things that the show and animators did with PJ made me aware of my tastes. Because he was chubby, they would take advantage of animating him always throwing his weight around. And they had him do a few things that could be considered lewd and kink related nowadays that back in the 90s were passed as something funny that's stereotypically unanimous with fat people. Like if you ever wondered why us big boy connoisseurs always fan ourselves when the t-shirt gives us a sneak peek at their belly after they stretch, like there's some 1920s flappers showing the straights, a hint of ankle back in the day, you can thank 90s cartoons and characters like Peach for that. Then there's the fact that when they aged up PJ for a Goofy movie and an extremely Goofy movie, they didn't slim him down. They kept him big. I personally know a lot of people that were glad Disney made that decision because, you know, positive big boy representation in film and television because he was allowed to truly be himself because he was away from his dad. But my selfish ass, on the other hand, just looked at him in those movies and was like, oh, thank God he's still chubby. It wasn't until later on, after puberty hit me, and I watched the movie Heavyweights, the other Disney property that initially made me realize that big boys were the bomb, that I looked back at PJ in Goof Troop and the Goofy movies and was like, you know, in retrospect, I should have realized this. Now then, let's talk about Esmeralda. Disney's version of Esmeralda to me is freedom, and I find her display of freedom very attractive. Yes, she knows that her milkshake brings all the boys to the yard, but she also knows that she has much more to bring to the table. There's also the independence, the sass and spunk, the selflessness of her character, her sense of judgment and morality. She has so much comfort and strength in her own sense of femininity that the tomboy is just as attractive as the femme. Which says a lot about me, since tomboy vibes have been a huge turn on for me from the gate when it comes to women. And then, of course, there's the melanin. You can't forget about the melanin. Yes, she's voiced by Demi Moore, but it works so well for her character that you genuinely forget that the voice for Esmeralda actually belongs to a white woman. So you could understand why she's my penultimate Disney crush until further notice. But one thing about me that's always going to be consistent is that Beast from the animated Beauty and the Beast will always be top bae. I go into more detail about what it is about Beast that does it for me in my Shape of Water video, but there's definitely a few things I want to add now that a bit more information about my Disney crushes have come to light. Beast is pretty much the main reason why Sully is so low on the list, real talk. Because everything that I genuinely like about Sully is partially due to the fact that I saw those qualities in Beast first. It's not necessarily a carbon copy, of course. Beast had to do a bit of soul searching before he made me realize that I was a sucker for heart of gold personalities wrapped in tough and brutish exteriors. But I believe the benefit of being exposed to Prince Adam before James Sullivan is that it showed me at a young age that not only do people have the potential to discover new things about themselves, but that they can actively and genuinely make the decision to change things that they realize are toxic about themselves. And even though they tried to tackle that in Monsters University, Monsters Incorporated was the first movie with Sully that I saw, and he was already that way. So, put two and two together. Of course, I can't speak for everyone else when it comes to crushes some might have on Disney characters. So readers, your homework assignment for the day is to write in the comment section below which ones you have crushes on. It can be from the movies, live action, animated, Disney Channel, whatever. Ah man, I just now realized that I just opened up the floodgates, let everybody know how much they love Kim Possible. Whew, ooh, I'm gonna have to put in my moderator powers on this one. Yeesh. Also, let me know if you enjoy these character crushes videos. I really enjoy making them. If you want to help financially support the channel, you can join my Patreon by clicking the card at the end of the video or in the link in the description down below, where you can also find a link to my merchandise store. Or if you prefer to give a one-time donation, you can find links to my PayPal and my Ko-fi account in the description box as well. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because I post new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and every other Friday. But until then, this is Redis 101. Class dismissed.